everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, then welcome. Tanchiki Wow Mizumi. My name is Abigail, or Abby, Abigail Dishnikashon. I am Métis and autistic and love talking about autism stuff. So this is where I do that. With Autistic Barbie now just a permanent feature in my background. So I am doing the 30 days of autism acceptance prompts. And I am a little behind again. I've been a little under the weather with headaches. So gonna try and get through 2 today, starting with yesterday's prompt. For April 17th, what are some accommodations that you would either like to have or already have to help you in your everyday life as an autistic person? If you could change an aspect of society to make things easier for you as an autistic person, what would you change? I'm not sure. I probably could come up with a better answer if I was still in school or working in a different job, but I've somehow managed to stumble into a spot that fits fairly well for my needs. I did have a rough patch with it, but adjusting my hours seems to have fixed it. Going to a 4-day work week, which I got the briefest taste of, would probably be best for me, but I think that's less specifically a me being autistic thing and more of an it's ridiculous that going to the bank or making a medical appointment requires at least an hour of work to be missed, especially in this economy thing. Like, we should just make all of those things available all hours of the day, every day. Just that would create more jobs and also accommodate people with different circadian rhythms, and then people don't have to miss work for their appointments anymore because they can just go outside of work hours. Like, why do we not do this? There are probably people who would love to be dentists or something who feel like they can't because they're naturally nocturnal. Like, I think I'm fixating on dentists a little right now because I'm getting some fillings on Monday. And I need to leave work 2 hours early for that. So yeah, I think I'm just a little preoccupied with the thing that's less autism accommodation and more society is badly structured in general. Thinking a little harder and trying to remember things in university, I didn't have an autism diagnosis until my 4th year of university. My 4-year degree was already set to be 6 at that point, though the 6th barely counts because I was just taking 1 extra class so I could actually get my minor in German. I planned that badly. So I did the first 3 years of university not knowing that I was autistic. But I was diagnosed with ADHD at the time. I got that diagnosis in elementary school. So I had an IEP all through elementary school and high school, and so I, in theory, could have gotten some accommodations for things in university. I'm not exactly sure what accommodations I could have had, but I didn't even know how to navigate anything about just even inquiring about accessibility services when I went to university. I didn't know who or how to ask. I know something existed. There would be announcements in lectures about we need a note taker for this class for people who need help with that. And I think I overheard someone say something once about getting extra time on exams. But I genuinely had no clue how to find any of that. I had an IEP all the way up till I finished high school, and I didn't know at all. I probably would have benefited a lot from having that if I'd known literally anything, but I didn't. And my anxiety was so bad that I thought people would get mad or hate me or call me a freak or stupid or something if I tried to figure it out. So instead, I just suffered. If I hadn't gotten the autism diagnosis when I did, I probably would have dropped out after just 3 years. I was close that Christmas before even starting the diagnostic process. I still didn't figure out anything about accessibility services even after I got my diagnosis. But because I had the diagnosis, I was able to make things work for my brain between new knowledge and little strategies I'd already kind of figured out having to go through 3 years of university without any accommodations. I just figured out how to manage. But I wish I'd had the accommodations. I wish I'd known. I would have done so well at university if I'd had accommodations. I did well enough. I graduated with honors, but I could have been amazing. But yeah, school was hard with the sort of pressure that classes have. I have the sort of like, yeah, this is part of why I needed accommodations. I have the sort of perfectionism problem where I would take zeros rather than hand something in that I didn't think was the best possible version of what I could do. I learned to ask for extensions with my profs at least. So I sort of got accommodations, just not through student accessibility services. It was just, I talked to my professors. I figured that out late though. Where was I in my script? Sorry, deviated septum, and I don't know how to edit that out, so you all just get to hear my mouse sneezes. I apologize. I had that perfection issue in high school a lot too. Sometimes people just assume that I must have had amazing grades in school. No. My grades weren't bad, but they weren't super impressive either because I took a lot of zeros, especially in university, especially my first few years of university. Like, I did make honor roll all through high school, but really only just if there had been clearer information on accessibility services in university, that would have been so helpful to me, I think. I know it would have. Learning how to talk to my profs about getting extensions was really helpful. Now, as an adult with a lot more control over my life, I don't feel like I need as many accommodations because, like I said, I stumbled into a job that works well enough for me without accommodations, and outside of work, I can just do what I need to whenever works best for the most part. I've kind of just found a way to navigate my life well enough to pass a lot of the time. It helps that I don't really going out a lot. Would love less noise and less bright lights at the grocery store though. And if perfume could just stop existing altogether, that would also be nice, though some of that may be my deviated septum talking. But like, yeah, the world is too bright and too scented and too loud. So yeah, I guess more sensory friendly atmospheres in stores, better information about accessibility services that exist in places like universities, and just restructuring work weeks in general for everyone so nobody ever has to miss work to do their errands are the big things for me. Like, me, personally. Also, if humans in general could just be less judgy about food. I will forever be mad about the food. So yeah, I've come up with a few things. Took a big ramble to get there, but I got there. And yeah, I think I'm very lucky and fortunate to be in a spot where I really have to think on what accommodations I'd like. That's a big change from where I was a year ago when I was so debilitated from anxiety that I thought I was going to have to quit work and go on disability, but that's a whole other thing that I'm not talking about right now. This is already getting long, and I still have a whole other prompt to do. And realistically, there probably are more accommodations that I could think of if I wasn't headache and tired. But the fact that I even have to put effort in, it's like, wow, my life has improved. So anyways, I said that the prompt I just did was for yesterday, April 17th. Yesterday was April 16th. Today is April 17th. I don't know what day it is. So today, April 17th, how do you feel about various autism organizations such as ASUN, Autistic Women's and Non-Binary Network, and Autism Speaks, etc.? I'm making faces. So that says a lot already. I admittedly don't really follow specific organizations a whole lot these days. I tend to mostly follow independent self-advocates a bit more. I will mention them in a later prompt because there is a prompt for that. However, Autism Speaks is a hate group. That's all there is to it. Enough has been said enough times by enough people over and over and over again. The information is out there. Anyone who says differently is willfully ignorant at this point, in my personal opinion. ASAN, the Autism Self-Advocacy Network, is autistic-led and does much better work. They partnered with Mattel for the Autism Barbie, much to my delight. You can even, like, see right on the box. I have the box right here still. She is not in her box. She is here. I love her. She just dropped her little AAC device. Yeah. I'm really thrilled that they partnered with Autism Self-Advocacy Network over Autism Speaks. I know some of the autism moms were mad about that. They can stay mad. Back to your safe spot. Where was I? I do wish that I could hear more about the Autistic Women and Non-Binary Network, though. Like, their mission statement is, we are committed to disability justice, gender and racial equity, neurodiversity, and trans liberation with a focus on transformative and restorative justice in disability spaces. I don't think they get enough attention, and to me that is a real shame because they seem to be the most focused on intersectionality out of these big three, and that is really important. Like, the gender and racial aspects of autism and people having diagnoses missed and everything, like, that doesn't get mentioned nearly as much as it should. The group that I follow most closely, though, is A4A Ontario, which is more local for me. What does A4A Ontario stand for again? I think it's Autistics for Autistics. Can you tell I'm headached? I fully just blanked out. Yeah, Autistics for Autistics Ontario. What else would the A stand for? I'm going to bed as soon as I am done this. Yeah, they're the organization that tipped me off that Autism Speaks Canada was shutting down a year ago. And it also keeps me informed on what's happening with autism-related things in my local politics. Well, local being provincial, I guess, because Ontario. Not right in my town. I'm so tired, I'm going hyper-literal. And I can't really think of much else to say on organizations right now, which is a good thing. I'm at the end of my script, and I am becoming very visibly tired. Autism Speaks hate group. ASAN pretty good. Autistic Women Non-Binary I like and wish had more publicity, and A4A is pretty local, so I keep up with them as best I can, and more than the other organizations. Anyway, thanks for watching. Merci pour ton temps. Thank you for bearing with me in my sleepy, headachy, I can barely stay on track with my scriptness. That's a word. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you again for tomorrow's video when I will hopefully be more awake, less headached, and more coherent. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing with me. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I've gained a lot of subscribers over the last few days. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Bye.